السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته أعزائنا الطلبة وأسعد الله مساءكم جميعا. Today we are in chapter 5 talking about some fundamentals of writing, the process and the product. So in this chapter we will talk about the writing process, which includes 3 writing stages, and we will talk about the part of the paper, including the introduction, the body, that include the main points to be covered in the paper, and the conclusion. Now let us go into a detailed description to all of these points. The writing process. Writing process is the process you go through to get words on paper, the way you and other people proceed from an idea to a final product. So this is mainly what is meant by writing as a process. Generally speaking, writing is considered in 2 main approaches: writing as a product and writing as a process. Here, and according to the current issues of teaching and learning, the tendency is geared towards writing as a process. So as a process, as any other process, writing as a process, as any other process, include so many stages. Any process includes so many stages. And these stages should be moved on from, you have to move from one stage to the other stage. But in writing, the matter is different. It is not suitable to move in a linear way when you write, irrespective of the type of writing and the topic you are writing about. You are writing an article, an essay, a paragraph, and so on. In the writing process to be followed when writing a research paper, you have to move into the so-called recursive or cyclical stage of writing. Okay, so we will move to the main stage to be included in the writing process, and we will know the difference between linear and recursive. But right now, you have to know that linear movement among the different stages of the writing process means that you have to move from the stage 1 to the following stage, which is stage number 2, then to 3, 4, and so on. In writing, the matter is different. It is not linear. It is recursive movement among the various stages of the writing process. Okay? We'll know what is meant by recursive writing. Now, let us move to the stages which are included within the process of writing as a whole. There are 3 main stages. The first one is called the pre-writing stage. The second one is the writing stage, whereas the third one and the last one is called the rewriting stage. Now let us begin with the first stage, which is the pre-writing stage. What is important here is to know what you have to do in each stage of the writing process and how to do it. So in the pre-writing stage, you, as it is previously presented to you and learned by you, in the pre-writing stage, you have to select, you have to come up with a topic, then narrow this topic, then you have to make a research about this topic in which you look for relevant and reliable materials and sources related to the topic of your research. And in this case, you will find yourself in need for 2 types of cards, note cards and bibliography cards. Each one is related to a specific source. For example, you prepare cards for articles in journals, or you prepare another cards for what? For books. Okay? So you choose a topic, you search about your topic and find relevant sources to your topic, take notes and arrange them in a form of cards. Then you have to come up with what? With a tentative outline concerning your paper. And again, tentative outline concerning your paper, because you might find yourself in need for other information. Okay? So what is important here, and as I told you, you come up with a tentative outline for your paper. So preparing a tentative outline of your paper means that it is not a final outline. It is just a draft outline for your paper. Why you don't need to prepare a workable outline for your paper? Because you have to leave a space for your what? Inspirations. You have to trust in your inspirations. You have to be creative and smart enough while you are in the writing process. So those inspiration while writing, you have certainly had them while speaking. So it is not enough related to speaking or discussing your paper with your colleagues or partner or friends, but sometimes you think with yourself. You come up with an idea while you are at the writing stage. Sometimes the researcher, while he immersed and involved and so engaged in the writing stage in a specific section, feel that there is an urgent need for another section, for this section to be saturated. So in this case, you have to go to your outline, amend it, add this section to your outline, and then go ahead to your writing. Okay? So this is what is meant by the pre-writing stage. So the pre-writing stage is the stage of preparing for the required materials and requirements for your paper, for writing, namely for writing process of your paper. What you have to prepare, you have to come up with a topic, to search for relevant and reliable materials, then take notes in a form of note or bibliography cards, notes, then is to outline your paper, to come up with a tentative outline of your paper. So an important key here in the pre-writing stage is that, so one key to good pre-writing for research paper is to be a good bookkeeper, book seeker. You have to look as so many books as you can. Okay? Another key idea concerning the pre-writing stage is to prepare a tentative outline. Okay? Then you have to leave a space in your outline for inspirations. When you move to the writing stage, you find that you are in need for another section. Sometimes you discuss with your friends, and your friend pay your attention to another subsection to be included in your outline and in your paper as a whole. Now, in the writing stage, you amuse yourself in your subject by looking carefully at your outline and reviewing your important sources briefly, and then just start writing. If you write an informative paper, you have to pay attention here. If you write an informative paper, you need to imagine yourself simply telling your reader about what you are going to present or to inform him. So you have to be quite conscious and organized in the content, the style of writing, and the vocabulary is selected. If you are writing a persuasive paper, you have to imagine that you are gently persuading your reader in your point of view. Also, you have to be selective in the vocabulary used, in the organization of your ideas and paragraphs within your paper, and in the way of conveying this paper so as to quickly persuade your reader in the point you are talking about or in the belief you are taking in your mind. In the writing stage, which is the main stage of the process approach, once you have prepared the outline, we suggest you to keep a pretty right organization at a more general level. So here, don't be stuck in the outline strictly, but rather you have to be more general, to keep the organization of your outline at the more general level of your paper. How do you do it? You have to divide your paper into several parts. Each part include main idea, main section, and then include subsections under each main section in order to enrich this specific section with a detailed explanation. So if you have organized your paper at the more general level, and if you imagine yourself talking on paper to your reader, now you do two things. You will stay much more organized than you might think. You will allow those inspiration to happen that we mentioned at the beginning of this paper. And then, what do you do then with those inspiration when they occur? Of course, you have to include them in your tentative working and your tentative outline. Okay? So what do you do then with those inspiration when they occur? Our advice is to trust your inspiration. That's why you need to think of your outline as a suggested organization to start with. And that's why we suggest that you outline, but not too much. Means not to be so strict in your outline. You have to think and believe that this outline is tentative. It is liable to change. Okay? Then when you move to each section, main section or subsection, you have to immerse yourself in this section and then leave